Grape picking time was a time of freedom. It was when I first earned any money. There's something very special about your first wages as a grape picker. And for me, it was a time when I had grape picking friends and we were doing the same job. And above all, as I got older, as a teenager, I fell in love every harvest time, because it's a time of great sensuality, when you plunged your hands into the vines to pull out the bunches of grapes. Your fingers were puffy with sugar. There were bees and wasps buzzing round. It was an extraordinary time. And in the evening we used to dance and drink a little, not too much, because the next day we had to be up picking again. But when I hear the word freedom, the first thing that comes to my mind is the grape harvest in the Beaujolais region. People think that Beaujolais is a little wine-making region, but it isn't. It's a big wine-making region that produces more wine than Burgundy, for example. People don't know this. If you're in the north or the south, in the Cru area, or in the ordinary Beaujolais area, in the middle, or in the Beaujolais village, the flavors will be different in each place. I've had the same experience with wine as many others, like, for example, Colette, the writer. It's true that when you're young, someone puts water in your wine and you taste a little. Someone puts a drop of Beaujolais on your lips for your sister's first communion, or for the neighbor's engagement party. And then comes the day when you're initiated into wine, when you're really taught how to enjoy it. And I think that it was in the cellar that I first got the taste for conversation, and almost even for interviewing, that was going to be useful to me later on during my literary TV programs. For a very long time, when I was a journalist, for example at Le Figaro Littéraire, for the Beaujolais Nouveau every year, I had 10 barrels brought up so that I could treat the entire editorial staff as a kind of ritual. I've given flowers, I've given books, and I've given wine. That's not so bad. Beaujolais started out as, and still is, a bar wine, a wine to drink with friends, a wine to enjoy with a game of boule, a wine that's served in jugs, and no fuss wine. A really great thing to do is to serve Beaujolais right through a meal, and you can even serve it with oysters or with fish. You can serve a Beaujolais as a starter, as long as it's a mineral one. A Beaujolais that has a stony flavour rather than a very fruity one. So you can serve, as I've already done many times, a few oysters and fish with a very, very mineral Beaujolais, one with gunflint flavour. And then, of course, when you move on to the meat course, whether it's a chicken or a leg of lamb, you pair that up with a Beaujolais cru, a moulin à vent, a morgon, a chirouble, anything you want. And then, if you're having a sweet tart, they're great with a fleury or a Saint-Amour. Beaujolais is straight up, it's a welcoming wine, exactly like the Beaujolais winemakers. When you come to Beaujolais, you don't need to make an appointment with them, they'll always welcome you to their cellar, and it's the same thing for Beaujolais wines. There's a great variety in Beaujolais. You can't compare a brouillis with a moulin à vent. Well, maybe moulin à vent is a bit special, but over and above the appellation comes the winemaker's know-how. It depends on the frame of mind of the man who makes the wine. Personally, I like wines that are fresh. I like wines that are lively. I don't like wines that are over the top. And I feel that Beaujolais is a good answer to what people expect of wine today. Something that you can enjoy straight away, with no pretension. And I agreed to do this interview because I feel that people try to overcomplicate things today, while Beaujolais is an answer to a number of requirements, including easy drinking, good price, diversity, and fruity flavors. And this really is what the wine drinker is looking for in the 21st century. For example, I've just been eating some vegetables with a sort of sauce made using tart tomatoes, and that would have been perfect with the Beaujolais. It's first and foremost a region. It's Solutré. It's those prehistoric horses that fell over that extraordinary steep cliff. And then, when you have a glass of wine, the first thing you look at is its robe. It's the same thing for horses. Just as with horses, you talk about leather, you talk about wood, you talk about fruit. And there are horses I've got in the show that are pure fruit. You know, they're like red fruit. I have memories of being on the road with the circus a long time ago, when we used to take the N7 towards Mâcon when we were heading for Paris or around there. And we always stopped in the big square, because there aren't many towns in France that still have squares like that in the town centre. And we would hurry to the Maison des Vins to enjoy some marvellous andouillettes, and of course, a glass of Beaujolais. If you're a Beaujolais wine waiter, you're a bit of an ambassador too. So whenever I'm going to a get-together with my friends, my family, or people I don't know, I always take a few bottles of Beaujolais with me, because Beaujolais is generally very easy to drink, and I love introducing people to its different facets and the great enjoyment and pleasure it gives. When I go back to Japan, I take lots and lots of Beaujolais with me to give out to my colleagues, my family, and my friends, and they all really enjoy it.
This is a wine that comes out once a year in the States, maybe because there's a really big Francophone community in New York. Loads of restaurants organise a little event around the release of Beaujolais every year, so it's really well known. We artists in the States have nearly all worked in restaurants as waiters or barmen, etc. It's always a big deal when November comes around, and oh, December, oh, it's Beaujolais Nouveau time.